Western leaders have gathered in Munich for the annual security conference, but this year the convention is taking place at a dire time. Russian troops have surrounded Ukraine from three sides, and NATO is struggling to make headway through diplomacy. The future of Eastern Europe is extremely volatile because Vladimir Putin continues to keep his cards too close to his chest. To understand the crisis better, our correspondent Susan Tehrani spoke to Elizabeth Shackelford, who is a former U.S. diplomat and a foreign policy expert in Chicago Council on Global Affairs. Now, she tells us how the West will not allow Russia to repeat its 2014 aggression. Listen in to this exclusive conversation.
Elizabeth Shackelford, thank you so much for joining us on WION. We speak as U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris and Secretary of State Antony Blinken and other U.S. officials are in Munich. What does the United States hope to achieve during this conference?
I think the messaging right now is that the West and the NATO alliance is really staying the course. And you're seeing this, kind of move up to bringing the vice president in because we've been having, the Secretary of State Blinken really being the messenger on much of this overseas with our allies for a long time now. And what we've seen is that we've been in this state of urgency for several weeks. So they've got to continue finding different ways to message that we are continuing to stay the course and continuing to lean very heavily on both diplomacy and showing a really united front by the West.
And U.S. President Joe Biden and other U.S. officials continue to insist that Russia may be days away from an invasion into Ukraine. However, maintains at least the U.S. President, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken just recently at the United Nations Security Council, despite raising alarm, also said that a diplomatic path forward is still possible. As a former career diplomat with the State Department yourself, what other diplomatic tools would the U.S. at this point have in dealing with Russia?
I think that the Biden administration has really taken an interesting approach with using creative ways to respond. A big part of this is trying to demonstrate that Biden can stay the course with maintaining, very dramatic action should there be an additional Russian invasion into Ukraine, but falling short of committing to moving U.S. troops into Ukraine, which I believe he's very committed to staying out of doing so. But what we're seeing right now with the trickle out of U.S. intelligence and NATO intelligence has been a really interesting approach that I haven't really seen before, and I think it's been keeping Russia and Putin in particular on edge. I mean, I think it's very possible that this has, if not deterred action, and today we're seeing signs that, it is still very much at risk that we're going to see an invasion soon. I think it's very possible that it has delayed it as Putin has been looking into what the real threats are going to be. Not only, strong statements by the West, which we saw that type of response in 2014. We saw some relatively minor sanctions. But I think now it's been very clear that NATO is standing firm together, that the West plans to make it very damaging economically to Russia should they move in.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.